State Line Records is teaming up with Generation Exit Records and 31 Records to kick off the summer with one of the hottest splits of 2025. Experience the raw power of Generation Exit's newest EP, Stay Alive. And with all the fury of Mark Lind and the Unloved's The Oncoming Storm. On June 6th, Austin meets Boston to scorch the earth when these two juggernauts collide. Pre-order the 12-inch vinyl now at StatelineRecords.com and prepare yourself to stay alive for the oncoming storm with Generation Exit and Mark Lind and the Unloved. The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
You're listening to the Struggling Artist Podcast.
People need to be entertained. They need the distraction.
With your host, Trev Allen.
I wish to God that somebody would do something to block out the voices in my head for 5 minutes.
Hello, everybody. Today, Mark Lind has returned to talk about his latest EP that is coming out in June. It is called The Upcoming Storm. It is a split with Generation Exit. Mark is doing this under the Unloved band. Stick around to the end of the episode to hear a song, I guess it will be a debut of an upcoming song that will be out, I think, tonight. If you listen to this when it drops in the morning, that night the song will drop. So we'll talk about that on the other side. This is episode 344 of the Struggling Artist Podcast, Struggling with Mark Lind and the Unloved. Dude, it's been a while since you've been on. I was thinking about it. Like, yeah, I want to say I don't think you came on in 2023 except for like the end of year show or whatever we did. But it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. So, but I remember. So we also we were doing the Get Punk podcast for a while.
Oh
too.
Yeah, that's true. I don't even remember when that was at this point.
I think that was like 2020. I think that was 2023.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, because that's when I can use we can use Danny Carney as like a measuring thing, because like that was the year 10 Beer Queer came out, and that came out like
that was before he was decorated with a million Emmys, right?
Yeah. while wearing while wearing a Pinkerton Thug shirt.
Yeah, I didn't understand. That didn't register with me that when he sent me a picture of him in a Pinkerton
because it's the Emmys.
Yeah, like. Was he accepting like remotely or something like that? Because I don't know what was going on. I thought he was in his living room with a picture of his Emmys with the Pinkerton Thug shirt. I didn't realize that he went and accepted them that way. That's kind of hilarious.
That's what he told me. So because he told me, he's like, yeah, I didn't come on in 2023. I'm like, I feel like I talked to you a bunch, but it was because he came on the Get Punk podcast like every episode, right? So
yeah, God, he's funny as hell.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
His new record's great too.
That's very good. I got the cassette, came in the mail, it showed up yesterday, and he like wrote me like a thank you letter or note, but it was on the back of a MacGyver flyer for the pilot, I guess, from like the old MacGyver show.
Like the original.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why he sent it on that, but it just added to the fun of it, right?
That's
so
amazing.
And then it's like he had like a label, like his return label it was like a hologram label, and it had the cover of the new album on.
Really?
Yeah, he went all out.
Tech.
He went all out for the cassettes, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been. I mean, I remember one of the times we were talking, and I don't know when it was. It was after I took. All right, so it was after I took the record club. So that was 2023. Yeah.
Okay.
And I said something about, hey, if you ever want to come on the podcast, and you're like, I got to wait till I have something to talk about. You said, and I was like, fair enough. You know?
Yeah, right. Now I do.
Yeah. So
what a segue. Look at you go.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I was thinking about that today, and because I was like, well, if you ever want to just like talk about anything, and you're like, yeah, I got to figure out something to talk about. But I want to. So like I inherited the record club from you, and first off, thank you. I was honored when you asked me to take it over. I was afraid I was going to fuck it up.
I'm so glad you kept it going, and you don't have to. Like if it ends up being like a albatross or something, just let it go, man.
We're still doing it, dude. It's
I
going.
like the idea, you know, and like there are people that are into it.
We've got carryover from when you had it too, so that's a plus for me. Like I'm still doing this right, you know.
It needs to also be like somebody who's enthusiastic and like really keeping in touch with like the local things. And I kind of was like losing grip on like losing touch with that and shit. So I kind of wasn't the right guy anymore. And just the fact that there was somebody that could and would do that was pretty awesome. So you're the man.
Well, I appreciate it. So now let's talk about it. So State Line Records is still a thing. It's still going.
Yeah, it still exists.
Now, is Get Punk, you're not buying like new inventory, right? New stock?
Yeah, I'm not doing any of that. Like,
unless you're putting out something.
That was basically like retail distribution. I was essentially a store.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped doing that. The overhead got to be insane. The prices that they expect you to charge people got to be ridiculous. And I just couldn't see myself continuing to like, I don't know. It was cool when the records were like $20, you know?
Yeah.
And they were like $40. Fucking out of your minds. I thought it was the way to go is keep the prices low and keep people interested. But it seems that some people in the music industry just want to like crush the fucking thing till it's dead.
Yeah. So, but yeah, sorry. So there's still stuff there. Most of it is State Line Records releases.
There's still stuff there. It is. Yeah, mostly. Yeah. It's like I have that, all that stuff. I have one of Lenny's records, and then like Mickey Rickshaw. Those are almost gone. I think that the Kings of Nothing's records that I had are gone. It's still a thing, you know. It still exists. This release that we're doing is really sort of a split release. I'm only picking up a limited number of records here. This is really like what we're doing here is a pretty good design. I think that small time bands could follow. I guess I probably should explain it all so that like
I would love that.
It's to their benefit. So like we're not even like talking about the cost of recording right now, which is it's probably like $1,200 a song if you want to go into a studio, and we're talking everything in like to mastering. It could even be a little bit more than that, but it's really costly to press shit right now. So you can't really nobody can afford to record like 20 songs like the old days, you know, because that would be a lot of money. You have to sell a lot of copies, but everybody can seem to do like a few songs, you know, that would end up being a 7-inch. So it just so happens 7 inches actually cost more to make right now than LPs do. They may be like compatible, but the limited pricing that I did was very discouraging. So it just so happened that Generation Exit was also recording an EP, or they're going to record an EP. And it was easier for us to split the cost of one record, and I take half, they take half, than it would be for either of our bands to do our own 7-inch. Mm-hmm. And the price will end up being less than 2 7-inches, basically. So it's a good way for bands to go. Because I think the problem right now with a lot of like smaller bands is the counts. You can do a short run of records at like 100 copies, but they skip a lot. They're kind of shitty. You really need to do like 250 or more to press at a bigger pressing plants. Some bands don't want to buy that many copies, so here's an idea for you. Split it with another band and then get the 250 copies because you'll save a bunch of money, but then just split the inventory with another band, so you only have to sell 125, for example. That's a way better option than buying 125 in a short pressing and you have to charge $30 because of how much it costs you in the record skip.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. Now, how did you approach Chris? Did Chris approach you? Like, how did that, or was it just like, hey, I'm doing this thing. What do you think? And it just so happened they were too.
It was kind of that. I think I dropped a line to Chris to see what they had going on, but I kind of had the idea that like finding somebody would be a good thing to do. The timing kind of worked out for them. Plus, the other thing is I've known them for a couple of those guys for a long time, so it was kind of cool to go back. It kind of harkens back to like obviously I was in Ducky Boys and they were in Born to Lose, and those two bands were on the same label in what decade was that?
Yeah.
00s or something. And so now it kind of makes sense. These are like sort of our offshoot bands of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes sense to kind of match up again. And maybe people will check it out. We'll see.
Yeah. I think they will. It's awesome. I've heard, I've listened to both sides of the test pressing. So
you're so sweet.
Yeah. I just saw someone online who got it too. Bob, this dude, Bob.
Oh yeah. I sent one to him. I always do.
He knows everybody, huh?
So, dude, he's just like, he was like a supporter for a long, long time, going back like probably 15 years or something like that. But he always would buy the test pressing. And I'm like, dude, you're so like religiously buying these. I'm just going to send you one from me for nothing from here on in. Bob gets a test pressing every time. I've never met him, but he's the test pressing guy.
So Bob's the reason why I got Flatfoot 56 on the show. He listens to the show and he was like, hey, have you ever thought about getting these guys on? And I'm like, I've thought about it, but I was like, I don't know them. Like, I don't think it's going to work. And he was like, I know him. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's not bashful. He'll just like,
no, he was cool. It was funny because he had a post up of the test pressing for the split and for the kilograms, and I just got my kilograms test pressing in the mail today. So
so I haven't heard the kilograms yet, and he was telling me that like how much he likes them. So they're definitely on my list. I actually meant to do that the other night, and I got stoned and I got distracted. So I'll have to circle back to that one.
Yeah, it's good. It's something special. That one's something special too.
Yeah.
Like,
good.
I think so. I think it did what the Boss Tones did when they first came out. It's like it's a different sound. They're doing a different sound. You know what I mean? And they have all these other things. They're drawing all these other elements in, and it just, So I had Sammy K on recently, and we talked about that. And I was like, dude, like this is something special. Like this is something that you don't hear. There's like calypso in it. There's calypso tempos and stuff in it, and and there's three different people sing on the record.
Oh, really?
It's Sammy K. It's Joe Gittleman from yeah. And then who was it? I think Jay Duckworth sings on it too. I think he was the other one that sang on it, yeah.
I mean, I'm late to the party because normally I would have like a Joe Gittleman thing ordered the day that he announces it. But for whatever reason, I just didn't get around to hearing them. I guess it was probably I must have been busy or something at the fucking time.
Well, it was like we're here to talk about something else, but it took like in a year they dropped I think 3 singles, an EP, and then they just like at the 1 year mark they dropped the LP. So like they've been busy.
This all happened in 2024. Well, that explains it. I was unplugged in throughout the whole year working on these freaking tunes.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
I did like 3 generations of demos and shit. 4.
Yeah. So I want to ask you something about these songs too, because I when we were talking and when I was taking over the record club, you had said something about like maybe I'll be able to like work on some of my own stuff now. And now was that like were you just not able to? Were you too preoccupied with something else, or were they in there? Or were they stewing and you just couldn't get to them because of everything else?
Oh, it was mostly that the last bit that. So these things, a lot of these ideas kick around for like years and stuff. So like pandemic songs and whatnot that just kind of like boiled up and finished at the right time and kind of became timely for me. I totally spaced for a second there, so you have to do a quick edit. Yeah, I was really busy with like the label and there's only so much time in a day. But the thing that the fucking killer of it all was that I didn't know I had the sleep apnea problem, which was really like, I mean, that was the real problem. Is that was like wearing me down. But it felt at the time that I didn't have the ability I didn't have enough time to balance everything.
Yeah. So the sleep apnea thing, that's something we talked about for years. Like, I can't sleep because I'm crazy, but I found a way out of that. I work at night and I sleep during the day. You know what I mean? So like that helped me. But like with you, it was like, you had sleep apnea and you didn't know, right? I mean, I guess you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know if you have sleep apnea. You don't know if you snore unless someone else tells you, right?
I just knew I was fucking exhausted all the time. So
Yeah.
finally I got to a doctor. But it went on for like 25. The only reason I know this, it went on for 25 years, but is because the reason I know is because the symptom that they caught, that they were like, oh, that's the indicator that you have this problem, is something that one of my girlfriends told me about in 2001 or something like that. So it's been going on for like at least that long. So I know that much. I can put a stake on the timeline. But yeah, it's pretty wild. And like I was always tweaking all day, all the time. I thought I was like anxious and shit. I was fucking tired, dude. I was like seeing stars.
You lost track. You like lose track of time and shit too. Like not like blackout, but like you just like like you're just too tired to do the thing. So.
Well, there was all sorts of shit. There was like I couldn't continue doing live shows at the warning shots because I felt like I couldn't breathe. Yes, I couldn't breathe, but it wasn't while I was on stage that was the problem. It was while I couldn't sleep. So yeah, it really it wore me down to the point that I tapped out.
I remember when you first got the sleep apnea thing, like the machine or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me like what, like you're like, I don't know, like you just like seem more energized. You know what I mean?
Dude, it does crazy shit to you. It immediately affects you. Like, like if you put that thing on, if you have sleep apnea and you put that fucking thing on, you know immediately that that's the fix for it.
Yeah.
But like you told me about a friend of yours, like that dude, I had recently had to like get refitted. And right now, like this week, I had to miss 2 days of work because like even getting refitted like that, the oxygen levels changing like day after day did like some weird shit to my brain where I almost felt like I was drunk or something. So I was like, I'm gonna not go to work today because I feel like this and I know I'll fuck something up. So it's still ongoing, basically. It's really hard to adjust to. They don't tell you that though.
Yeah, no, he didn't like he went, since he's had it for over 20 years and never like he thought it was working, but it wasn't. It was just blasting air out of his mask. Like, and then like I remember, same thing with him. Like he hit me up and he was like, dude, I feel so much better. Just talking to him. I talked to him on the phone. I'm like, you sound like you're in a lot better like position now. Because it screwed up. He had to get a surgery and they wouldn't put him under. They were afraid to put him under. So he got everything situated, and then his levels were okay. We can do this now.
He probably got some benefit from it, just not anywhere near
not nearly enough.
Benefit. So I certainly got some benefit from the first like 10 months of this thing, and now in the past I'm on week 2 of this adjustment, and it's like all over. It's like starting all over again. I'm like all out of whack.
Yeah. So I mean, that's got to help like when you're being creative, like when you're thinking of writing a song, right? Because now. Like, because I could be super tired and like write something. How many times I've like started to try to write something when I was tired, and then when I was done, like the next day when I'm awake and I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't like you still have the idea, but it's I don't know. It almost prevents you because you get. I mean, I think a lot of it too. Like I'll get like writer's block when I'm tired. I won't be able to focus on anything.
Well, sure. I know there's been a recharge. I don't know. I can't remember what was happening before.
Yeah.
But like, so I did like demos in January and March of 2024. I was still dead tired then. The songs are the same ones, but they just weren't as good. And then I got the sleep apnea thing like 2 weeks before I did the electric demos, which you heard.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely do things that I didn't even know how the fuck, like I was playing the guitar and it was like a lead and I'm like, how am I even doing this? My hand's moving and I didn't know how I knew how to do this.
Yeah.
All like vocal harmonies and stuff. I was like, who is this fucking guy that just showed up? It was pretty funny.
That's got to be a relief though, man. Like to be able to get back to the thing. Cause I remember one of the first things you ever said to me on this podcast was like, this is like, you said like, this is life. Like you just do it. You know what I mean? Like there was like, it seems like for a while it was hindering you and you weren't able to do it, at least not to the way you wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Everything's got to happen. Cause the other thing is like, I had to like recharge the bank, replenish the bank of tunes and everything. So it's a bum out that like, I couldn't have like kind of got back to things a few years ago. But I don't think if I had that I would have, first of all, I wouldn't have come up with the songs that I have now. And I definitely would not have come up with the ones that I have that are coming next.
Ooh, okay.
So I guess I'm kind of glad everything went the way it did in a way.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like it's good that you're good now. That's the biggest thing.
Well, I mean, I guess I still wonder about it because like Drew was telling me how like you can like fucking drop dead of a stroke or a heart attack if you have like such severe sleep apnea. And like after like fucking around with those oxygen levels, like I can believe it.
Now, did you have to go to the doctor to get it readjusted or?
No, that was just a fitting thing. But I feel like they probably should have forewarned me. Even I don't know, the doctor really just interprets the reports. I don't know, medicine's a kind of weird thing too. That's not the topic though. I do think the doctor's a fucking cool guy. I mean, if anybody wants to go to a sleep doctor, I can't recommend this guy enough.
Yeah, that's good. All right, man. So all right, so yeah, let's talk about that. You sent me these demos pretty early on. I liked them, and I think at the time you didn't quite know what they were yet, right? Like you didn't know if it was going to be Unloved songs or Ducky Boy songs, right? Was it? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah. I did like 10 demos. And, first of all, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do with anything. I definitely have some songs that I'm intending for. I mean, they're very obvious when you hear them, what they're intended for. But there were some that I wasn't too sure what to do with them. And a lot of like the feedback from some people, I think I sent them to you, maybe like 5 to 10 people, maybe total, was that they didn't think that X, Y, and Z songs would fit with the others. I don't know. I guess I could see it. I mean, that's why I asked people if they had an opinion. But everybody consistently said the same thing. And so I grabbed X, Y, and Z song, and I was like, I'm going to make these songs now before they end up like not getting made sometime down the road.
Right.
Which kind of sounds a little bit, I think, backwards, but that's what happened. They were the ones from the demo sessions that I sent you that kind of people didn't really know what to make of them.
Well, that one song, I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's awesome. Like I couldn't, like, you know what I mean? I'm like this. I don't know where you would put this, but it was,
Yeah, well, I mean, fortunately, timing worked out as it did because I had like 6 months before there was any availability to do anything more. So I still wanted to go in the studio during that time. So I was like, well, let me take these wacko songs that these guys said don't fit with anything and just go do them now.
Yeah.
And see what comes of it. But the people. So when this goes on the air, that song you're talking about is the one that's coming out tomorrow, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It's called World Went Mad. That demo had like a super, super 80s vibe to it. And we kind of pulled that back a little bit, but we'll have to see what people are going to draw their own opinions when they hear it.
Yeah.
But you can still hear it in there, I think.
You definitely can. You definitely can feel that vibe. It was, and again, I remember, so from that time, from when you sent me those demos to when you sent me the mixes, and I was like, wait, is this that song? Because it definitely changed, but it was still good. It's still, I mean, you made it a better song, right? You make it, you that's what happens. That's the process, right? You take a demo and then you kind of make it more of your thing and
Yeah, I mean, I guess it sometimes things just kind of like go in one direction in the studio, right? Mm-hmm. And you're in the moment, but you kind of want to be trying to be creative. So you kind of just go with it. And I did say to Benny, who's the producer, I mentioned a different kind of sound than the guitar sound. People are going to have to hear the demo sometime. All I have to do is
I was going to say, you should do like a cassette with the demo.
Well, the demo sounds so fucking bad because like I don't know how to record at home. Like I don't know. I mean, I know how to record. Like I know how to plug the guitar in and play it, but I don't know how to like sculpture the sound to get it the way that like you want it to make it sound good. So it sounds really fucking bad by comparison to like a real studio. Someday I should let people kind of hear like an A and B because it is kind of fascinating what you can do with this recording studios these days. But this particular song had like this 80s feel to it, almost like, I mean, I got there I was dicking around with like, what would NXS do here? And it didn't turn out to be like them at all.
No.
When I went down to the part and started to play it, I was like, oh, this is almost like something from like a Phil Collins song, but like he has like a spooky songs, you know?
Yeah. Really, I heard it was a different, there was a few different things that I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like it just fit, it fit the timeline, like that era, you know?
Yeah. It's like in like 1983 to like 85, there were these types of songs that were like, like Run to You by Bryan Adams or There's that song by Freda she was in ABBA, but she sang the song "I Know There's Something Going On." There was like a particular '80s vibe that almost had like a spookiness to it, and I can't really explain what the fuck that means because I don't know anything about what I'm talking about. But that's what I was kind of hitting at. But when we got into the studio, and I started playing the bass and the other two guitars, they kind of like swayed in a little bit of a different direction. So, or at least like what you can't hear on my demo came through better. And like there was like one of the guitar parts I'm playing in that song almost sounds like a Izzy Stradlin type of rhythm part. So it has like a Guns N' Roses type of feel. So I was like, well, what if we took the sound and I referenced like what's that Green Day song that has that? There's a Green Day song that has that same like weird sound where it chops. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not a big Green Day guy, so
I think it might be Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Like
Maybe.
all the nerds out there probably like know what I'm talking about, but it's basically the sound of a guitar cutting through a filter on the sound of the click track.
Okay, yeah.
So you're hearing it where there would be a click. You hear a pinch of a guitar popping through, and it makes this weird, really cool sound.
I know what you're talking about in the song because like in my head, I'm listening to like the melody in my head, and just the whole like the beat of it, everything is just like.
Yeah, so Benny matched like there's a beat, there's a pulse to the guitar part. So I'm gonna sound like a fucking cheesehead here, but it goes like gunk, 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 and it's really just a guitar going boom, 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 but passing through the pulse of the click track, which goes like
yes. So that's it. I couldn't describe that, but that's exactly what it is. When I'm hearing it, like that's that.
Yeah, it's fucking cool. And Benny was like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about." He whips out this fucking thing. I don't even know what it was. It made like feedback, and like at the end of the song, you hear the feedback ripping, and he's like moving the thing around me like a camera almost. It was a microphone that's deliberately made to throw feedback to an amplifier that's in the other room with a microphone on it. Like, the fucking future is here, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck that thing was.
Right on. Yeah. So that's who played drums on it then?
Yeah. So Benny's he's the producer and head engineer at Mad Oak Studios. So I've been recording with him for 15 years now, 14 years. So he said, yeah, you'd play the fucking drums. I couldn't believe it. But like he was there anyway, and he plays the drums. And so it was really, really interesting and fun to do that because it was just like me and him for like a week's worth of recording until the day that Drew, Carrie Ann, and Rich stopped by.
Yeah, let's talk about that. You had some.
So Benny's obviously the big one because like if he didn't want to play, then I would have had to like hire a drummer. So Benny played that and all the percussion. So he even does like castanets and shit and fucking cowbell. But C.E. Skidmore is on this song called Turn the Temperature Down, which will be on the third single. So that'll be out in 2 weeks. Rich from The Warning Shots, he's in every band. Morgan Knockers, he played guitar on the same song that Carrie Ann's on. And then they both did a vocal on a cover song. And then Drew came down and ended up singing on all 4 songs. So Drew and Benny are basically on the whole record. And then Carrie Ann and Rich are on 1 song and 1 note.
Now the Unloved project, like you've had different personnel for every album, right?
Yeah. There's never been like a repeat of. I mean, there's been people that are on multiple ones. But what was I gonna do? Like, I didn't know what to release it as.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So like that's kind of why I made the Unloved. Is like so if. Like no matter what happened, if people quit, I could do a new Unloved. If like I didn't think of this at the time, but if I could do a fucking record like Dave Grohl style, except with somebody playing the drums, I could put it out under the Unloved, and that it just so happened that I had it available to me, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just call it under the Unloved. That's what
I mean, I've talked to quite a bit of bands as of late. That's kind of the project is like they're the center folk of the project, the center point of the project, and then like. You just fill in like if you can have having a band like that's a big commitment from everybody. And if they can't do it, like you don't want to keep the project going regardless.
Yeah. And it's that's, super hard to keep a band going when you get older too. I mean,
yeah,
Jesus Christ, bands break up when they're in their early 20s because people are in it for all different reasons. And they figure out that their reason doesn't match the other guy in the band. To try to do that 20 fucking something years later, it's just madness. You can't do that. So thank God technology allows us to do the recording as we do now because I guess I can still do it.
Yeah. Now the last album you put out was an Unloved album too, right? Last Bastion was the last thing you put out, right?
Yeah, that was 2019.
2019, yeah, 2019.
That's crazy. I used to do one record a year, and now it's been like fucking 6 years.
Yeah, I remember you. What another big quote from you on this podcast is you put out more albums than Metallica,
Dude. I have done more albums than Metallica. They've only just surpassed me in fucking sales. By like 150 million copies.
Right on, man. So is it there's a vibe to this. I mean, all your music always has like an overarching kind of, like point you're getting across, right? So this one it's definitely different than the last one. But I feel like these like few songs are like have the weight of like an LP because of the content.
Yeah, they're definitely intended as there's a point.
Yeah. To
the 4 songs. Like there's a point to them being together. It's like there's a storyline almost, right? Mm-hmm. The oncoming storm, the world went mad, turned the temperature down, and then I could have done an original song, but I really needed a song that was about like saying like what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding. And I was like, the options here, either I'm gonna have to give fucking the dude the $60 and cover his song, or I'm gonna have to fucking write a shitty song about the same thing that the world does not need. So we're gonna go with the cover song. So turn the temperature down, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding. It's sort of like an arc that. Well, I mean, it will speak for itself, I think, when people hear it. I hope, if they can decipher the lyrics.
I think they will. You've been pretty decent at being a songwriter with lyrical content too. So I think people will figure it out. Yeah, you know what? I remember you putting a social media post up. I think it was when you paid that guy. Tell me about the last song. Like, we don't have to get into it, but what's the cover?
What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?
Yeah,
it's, Nick Lowe is the writer. But and he did the song with his band back in like 1971 or whatever. A lot of people know that song because Elvis Costello played it. Nick Lowe later produced an Elvis Costello album, and maybe they were short a song. Maybe Elvis Costello just really liked that tune. But he made this cover that is his own version of it. So clearly when people hear the one that Benny and I recorded, it's like clearly the Elvis Costello version. Because if you heard the original one, it doesn't sound like that. I mean, it's the same song, but it's a different version of it. So that's really the bit there. I think a lot of people, casual fans, might not know that that's not necessarily Elvis Costello's own song.
So what are the things that I remember when you put up the post? Because you were putting up a post just about like kind of like them. Yeah, like, hey, like if you're a musician, you should be paying the people you're covering their songs if you're putting it out because
it's that easy.
Yeah, it's easy. That was
it's
the
fucking
thing.
Easy as hell, dude. It's like shopping on Amazon.
Right. Now, maybe people just didn't know how to go about doing that, but like...
Probably. CD Baby does help with that. So if somebody's like just doesn't know anything, like they're just like an amateur, like starting out, CD Baby does have a thing that says like if it's a cover song, do you need us to help you with getting the rights? Mm-hmm. So they do have that feature, and that's really cool of them because they are educating people. But yeah, it's really simple. You just go on to this Harry Fox agency. You have to register with them as a buyer, but I'm a shopper on there just like I am on Amazon. Yeah. And go on there and look at my history of purchases of the songs I've licensed and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's like you enter how many physical copies you're going to produce, and they give you a price, and it's really, really easy. I mean, like, I'd rather spend like my money on paying Nick Lowe for his song than buying a new set of bath towels or something.
Right. And so when you were writing these songs, did you write them in order, or they kind of... No?
It's absolutely a coincidence that they ended up working out the way they did.
Really?
Yeah. It just like, they were just like different moods, different songs that kind of sat together. And I was like, wait a second. And I just drew the lines to them. I was like, fucking bing, right there. Mm-hmm. And obviously I figured that out before I concluded that the cover song would be the right way to end it out. So that was before I got to the studio, because I had to send the songs to Benny for him to learn them, the 3 original ones. It wasn't entirely a coincidence. Like at some point in time, it ceased to be a coincidence and became very deliberate.
Have you ever played shows with Mark and the Unloved? Like has that? Yeah. Oh, you did. I didn't know if you guys ever did shows, or if you ever did shows.
Well, that's when you were living in Tennessee, right?
I think so, probably, yeah.
Yeah, we did a lot. I used to play with some of the guys from Death and Taxes, so we played a ton of shows with them. I mean, that's what it ended up being. Like, I had to find people that would play. So even if I did it again today, which I'm not going to do anytime soon, I would probably have to grab like a full band. And then it's a really cool way to have a band get shows. If they have difficulty getting shows, I just play my tunes, man.
Yeah.
And you guys play, and then we play. And it works out for everybody.
I had someone on recently, and it was like, that's like the best model for like, you add one more person, and now it's a different band, and you get paid two bands. You know? Yeah.
I think it was Mark Linsky from Hudson Falcons that really, I'd never thought of that before, but like that's an old time thing going back to like, when like Chuck Berry would tour or something like that. Mm-hmm. One band would back up the other guy, and it would, but that faded away for a long time. And then Mark Linsky from the Falcons was doing it, and I was like, hey, wait a second, Mark's a smart guy, and he's right.
Right. Well, speaking of other things that are an old way of doing things, right? We talked one time about just touring, right? Touring, and it's an old business model. And I've had a few people on that I've kind of butchered what you said about it, like, because I couldn't remember every word, but like, I kind of think it's an interesting take. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Or?
So yeah, I mean, I think I know what you're talking about. Because sometimes I just shoot from the hip, and keep in mind also, dude, if I was like sleep deprived at the time,
yeah, right? No. So basically, what you were saying was like the touring model is an old business. It's a business model from way back.
Yeah, from like Buddy Holly days and shit.
Yeah, and it kind of like, I don't know, like almost puts a leash on the artist. Like this is what you have to do to make this.
I think so. I mean, I could even expand on that at this point. Because, like I said earlier, everybody's into this for different reasons. I do think that the touring model is weird and outdated because, like, just because I like making songs and then recording them does not mean that I want to get up on a stage and, dance a jig or something like that. I have to do a little two-step. Right. It's a different type of thing. So that I guess the industry kind of treats you like you're some sort of freak if that's what you want to do. If you just want to like record and make songs, like they just say fuck you, we'll find somebody that will tour. But those aren't necessarily the same. It's not the same. And there could be bands out there that are completely ignored because they're not actively touring right now. But those people could supply the songs to bands that will go tour. I mean, there's a whole world of opportunity out there for everybody. But they do seem to persist in that weird model of like you have to go on the road and promote the songs. Like that was like, what else are we doing in the same model from 1958? Yeah. Every other business has changed. I mean, the music business has changed. Nobody's getting paid for their music anymore. Right, and that's why concert tickets cost like $300. Yeah. But they don't change that aspect of it. And I'm not saying like, I want to stay home and I want you to treat me like a rock star or anything like that. But I'm just saying like, there's like other avenues of promoting. And then you see like, go even a little further. There was a time period in the early 90s when like REM and NXS, who were huge touring acts in the 80s, they didn't want to go on the road with their albums. They still promoted those albums. The one that had Losing My Religion on it is one that they didn't tour on.
That's like one of their biggest songs, like notable songs. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So clearly it can be done because they promoted the hell out of that album somehow. But REM did not perform shows on that. I think they did like a couple of televised events. And NXS didn't tour on the one, you might not even know them, but they had some big hits off this one album, and they didn't tour on it just the same way REM didn't. And it was successful, so they can change it when they want to. They just don't adapt it, and I just wonder how much they're missing out on because of that.
And then, so people like they can put out their music everywhere now too. Like it's just a matter of, like you said, promoting it and like, I don't know. I understand where some people, like people who are road dog, like they like to tour. Like that's different. That's different.
Yeah, totally.
You shouldn't have to do it though.
Those people are into it for a different reason. Yeah. Totally different reason than what I want to do it for.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do that too, I guess, right? But it just seems weird like that. And it's not that way it's not that way for every type of music though. Cause like, I mean, I know it's changed now, but for decades, the pop stars that played like rap music did not tour. They just appeared on like SNL and stuff like that. I know that they do now, like there's big events happening like Fenway Park and stuff, and times have changed, but that music was still getting promoted somehow. It's just rock music that they want you still have to do that shit. You still have to get in the van.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it's that whole thing. Or rock music was always like bad mark on it, on the music. You know what I mean? Like it's rock and roll. You know, it got popular, but it wasn't meant to be. It was supposed to be this underground music that everyone was going to hate on, but it got popular. You know,
Fucking God.
Yeah. We've had some good music over the years. You know.
Yeah.
But, and then we've had some stinkers, but that's okay.
Yeah. We didn't have to talk about Metallica's Saint Anger right now. That's my default fucking whipping post. I absolutely love it. I love beating on that album. It's not even that bad.
Yeah.
It's a fucking great joke every time, man. You can just dump on that anytime.
Another thing too, I just think about like you were talking one day about just kind of like the Boston music community and how it used to be, and because there was a show coming up. There was a show coming up in Worcester.
You talking about me crapping on the fucking LA bands?
Yeah.
So, dude, back in the 90s, that shit didn't play around here.
Right.
Like, I remember, I did go see Pennywise once in like 1994 or something. They played at Axis. But like those bands, they didn't come around to Boston. Those SoCal bands. They did like the Warped Tour or whatever, but they didn't play locally. Like the ones that had the nasally voice, it just was not liked around here. And we used to all fucking break balls like fucking SoCal crap. But that was the kind of like attitude that built the scenes around here.
Yeah.
Because like the punk bands thought that was, I don't know, they could have listened to it in their own spare time. I certainly wasn't listening to No Effects or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like the only California bands that were like socially acceptable was Social Distortion, Rancid, and the Swingin' Utters. Yeah. Otherwise, it was like nobody liked it, dude.
Now it's just weird because like that show is basically like what the Punk and Drublic show would be, but they're not doing Punk and Drublic shows anymore, right?
Well,
so
it's the same people. They
just changed the name. Like I'm like,
something like
when
that.
I saw that, I thought that was a little strange. I'm like, you know, like
I mean, I'm not trying to like pick a fight with SoCal bands. I was just stating how it used to be. But that really was like the way we all were as kids back then. And I'm not just talking the punk scene, but like if we hadn't had that like that fucking attitude of like, fuck you, we don't need your shit, we never would have had the punk scene. And then, but beyond that, there was a hardcore scene. There was like a straight edge scene. There was a ska scene. There was rockabilly. There was fucking everything coming out of Boston. And it was all that attitude. Nobody gave a fuck about what was going on with these national bands. They only cared about what was happening locally. And
that's kind of how I still am. So I'm still like that.
Yeah, well, there were a lot of people with that sort of attitude. And then it started to grow down here from the Boston bands. And then eventually it connected with those popular bands. And the Boston bands started like opening for those big popular bands. And then we got all the crowd. But originally it was like they were all like this to the California bands.
I know, like, so especially when it just the difference between like, you know, like these national acts and like just the independent music scene. Like my record collection is pretty extensive, and it's like it's 95% fucking independent music. Like I didn't get like, I think I bought an Out Come the Wolves from you like 2 years ago, and you were like, you don't have this? I was like, no, I never. Like I started. I was like, maybe I should start buying some of those. Like, you know what I mean? Like some of the, because there's some of them I like, but like I just like I would rather listen to, you know, the Drowns and the Coffin Salesmen of the world. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather listen to this other stuff than like, because I can hear Pennywise and all those bands like whenever, but like, you know, like I think I've told you this before, like listening when I was down south and like the Ducky Boys came on like Faction Punk, I was like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like that's like a, you know, usually they're not playing stuff like that. They're, you know, I've heard the Drowns on there now, and like the Iron Roses is another band that I just happened to turn the radio on yesterday, and they were on the radio. I'm like, yeah, all right, this is good. Like, but then for every one of them, you know, you got MXPX, and you've got like, I'm not shitting on any of these other bands, but like they've never been for me. You know what I mean? Like I can tell you.
You're basically, you got the same mindset as like we did back then.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just like when I say we, I can definitely say my band, but I mean like, I'm pretty sure all the other bands, like they were all the same, you know, like the core bands that we used to play with all the time. They all kind of had the same type of attitude. Like, we don't need the fucking national bands. We've got our own. And it like kind of like, I don't know what the people say today, like it manifested itself, but it did. It almost like it was like its own fulfilling prophecy that it would become, we were like, we don't need anyone. We'll build our own scene. And then we did. Well, like, wow. How'd that fucking work out?
I mean, and there's, it's still around. Like that's the best part. Like there still is this is the sound from here and that's that. You know what I mean? Like you still have those bands. And I mean, it's a little bigger. It's not just, it's like, it's mostly all of New England now, I would say, but like, it's cool to see that part still sticking around. You know what I mean?
Well, I think as long as the big guys keep going, then there'll continue to be an interest in that. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. So as of now so this is coming. Yeah. The pre-order started
on the 29th of April.
April 29th starts the pre-orders. Okay. So people can pre-order this record now. Where should people go? What's the best place for people? I always tell that too, like
StatelineRecords.com.
Okay.
Is where initially I'm going to have the variation that belongs to me, to State Line. And then I'll have some copies of the Generation Exit version. And then there's a third version. So there's a label called 31 Records out of Houston that's just starting up. This dude runs a YouTube channel similar to what you're doing here. He does like a podcast through YouTube. He's a really cool guy. And he's buying some of this too. So I think I'll have like 5 copies of his variation. I'm
gonna have to buy a copy of each one. You started this, you know that, right? Like my record thing is because of you, because of the record club. That's when I started. Like I was buying records, but I'd go to like, yard sales and stuff like that. And yeah, but then I was like, oh, there's different colors. Did they do this? I had no idea there was color vinyl until I got one from you.
Yeah, dude. Remember when records were black?
Yeah, they were just black. Yeah.
That's like talking when you talk to people about that now. It's like you feel like you're talking about a flip phone or something.
I know. I almost want to get I always want to get if they have one in black to spin and then like the color one, put it on the wall or something. But I'm running out of space.
Yeah, you'll be running out of space real soon, guy.
Yeah. Right.
So the color variations are all just like, they kind of target the collector type of people. So you just got to resist that, dude.
I'm going to have to try. I was buying I ended up giving away some because I was like, I'd have I think it was a Drowns record. I had 3 different variants of, and I'm like, what am I going to, I can't it's like, you know what? This will be the golden ticket record.
Did you, did you get the new version of their first record?
I did.
I haven't got that yet. Is there anything did they remix it or remaster it? Or
they did. They remastered it, and there's a new track.
Oh, motherfuckers!
Yeah,
I get my money.
I think it might be a cover. It might be a Coxbar cover they put on there. So
that'll be interesting. Well, I'll take a look and find out.
So I ordered it, and I ordered a test pressing of it, right? And then Ryan from the Record Club, he mailed me a copy of it. He bought it at their show and had them sign it for me.
Get out of here, really?
Yeah. It's it's over here. It's kind of hard to see. It's next to the blue light, but it's
on the left. Is that like a pitchfork or something? Is the up?
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. And wait, was that Ryan Cowell?
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, I'm going to send you something." And I'm like, "Okay, what are you sending me?" And he's like, "I guarantee you don't have it." And then it came in, and I was like, "You're right. I don't have an autograph one of this. Thank you." So I put that in a frame. So
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's a Record Club member, man. He learned about the show because of the little, you would put the stickers in for me, and then I took it over, and yeah, we've had a few of those connections over the years.
That's good.
I had Dylan Disaster on, and he was like, "Hey, I've known about your show for a few years because I bought a record from Mark Lind," and So
I mean, that's what we were doing it for, right? And it's good to hear that it worked out because it is like a community thing, and I don't know if people fully appreciate that. It really is. If you fucking share people's shit online, it's so fucking easy. It's free, and if you do that for other people and stuff,
they'll ride hard for you, man. You've been a sponsor of this podcast since what, 2021? So
which has basically cost me nothing, but it's true though. Everybody could do something, and I don't know why we don't. I mean, you do.
Yeah, I try.
You sure as hell do.
I spent many years not doing, but you know what I mean. I just kind of did my own thing. But yeah, no, it's easy. It's easy to do. It's easy to support each other, and I think in times like today, we need that more than anything, really.
And to be honest with you, the whole thing. Yes, absolutely, you're right. And the whole thing that I'm doing with Generation Exit is really kind of similar to the same thing with you. It just made sense, and it worked out. And
it comes back around I mean, when I first ever talked to Chris, he just talked about how they went on the road with you guys. You know what I mean? And he's like, "Oh, Mark was so kind to us," and so it's cool to see like those connections stick around after all these years too, you know?
For sure.
So that's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right. So the record is out now. Go to statelinerecords.com to pre-order it. Would there be like a digital version on Bandcamp? Are you guys doing Bandcamp at all, or how's that going to work? And
yeah. So the digital version of mine, of the Unloved side, and the Generation Exit side are independent of each other. They're kind of coordinating these things, but you can hear them both on all your streaming platforms. We're both going to have our Bandcamps. When I start sharing links and stuff, it will have everything. So it will have the Generation Exit links for their Bandcamp, for their version of the vinyl, in case my version sells. If version sells out of my site, they have their own. They're also going to have like 25 of my version. We're just trying to save people on having to buy it from different locations and, pay shipping and stuff like that. But everybody's links will get shared and everybody will be able to find that. But I think Bandcamp maybe Monday. So with that, the song might go live on Bandcamp the night that this goes live.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it will be in the streaming services the next day.
On the
Tuesday.
the Tuesday.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. And like I said, when the record drops, we'll have you and Chris on. Hopefully, we can get you and Chris back on together. We could have a little
powwow.
Yeah, a little discussion.
I would love to. I'd love to chat with you guys. It's a good time.
Awesome.
I think you guys would. We'll all hit it off.
Yeah, right on. Mark, thanks again for coming on.
Dude, thanks for having me on here. I appreciate it.
Social media. Where can people find you on social media?
Jesus Christ! It is the State Line Records on Instagram. I know that. I don't know what my fucking Facebook.
Do you have one for the Unloved?
Well, it's just my name, and that's the one I always use for the Unloved. It's like Mark Lind, Boston or something. I don't know, let me find out. Shit, I'll have to get back to you. We can just put it in the links.
It'll be in the show notes. So I know. Yeah. So Instagram and Threads are probably the best places, right? Oh, Facebook too, right?
Yeah, Facebook's the other one, I guess. So State Line Records on Instagram and Threads. I'm just fucking throwing tomatoes on Threads these days, but that's okay. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, Instagram. I mean, Facebook is Mark Lind, right?
I think so.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I mean, if you search for that, you're gonna find me. I'm the only fucking dipshit with a skeleton in my fucking profile picture, except for the Generation Exit. They also got the same skeleton.
Right. Right on, man. Right on. All right. Well, thanks again. We'll make sure we get that in the show notes. And everyone listening, go to statelinerecords.com and pre-order your record.
Thanks, guy. You're the man.
All right, and that's the show. I want to thank Mark again for being today's guest on the Struggling Artist Podcast. In the show notes, you will find links to State Line Records. Go there, pick that up. They're a sponsor of the podcast, so pick up some other stuff too while you're there. I want to thank Chris Chavez, Aria Rad, and Jeff Bousquet for being members of the Struggling Artist Podcast team. Follow them on Instagram. Chris is at 716 The Sound. Jeff you can find at JARB Image. And Aria at Coffin_Salesman. Thank you to the band Losers Circle for allowing us to use their song, The Great Illusion of Time, off of their album, Took Long Enough. I talk about it all the time. It's such a great album. If you haven't picked it up already, head over to their Bandcamp and snag it. You can find a link through our website too to get there. Everybody supporting us over on Patreon, thank you so much for your contributions. It helps us with the podcast stuff. Pays our fees, pays our stuff like that, and we try to do a project every year with some of the money, and and include all of you in that project as well. Thank you so much. If you want to know what's going on over at Patreon, head to patreon.com/podcast TSA. Thank you to everybody who listens to the podcast, shares it, and I don't know, all that stuff. If leaves us voicemails. We haven't gotten a voicemail in a while. I should probably turn that phone on and see if we have any. Actually, it's probably been about a month since I turned that phone on. But leave us a voicemail or a text 774-570-1552. Let us know what you think of us. All right, it's time to get out of here. We have a song to play. We talked about this song quite a bit in the episode, and like I said in the beginning, I believe it drops tonight. So if you're listening to this soon after it drops or during the morning of the release of this, the song I don't think is out yet. So, Anyway, the song it is off of Mark Lind and the Unloved's upcoming EP, The Oncoming Storm, and the song is called World Went Mad. Until next week, take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you then.